Hello and welcome to today's episode of the podcast. I'm Adam, and joining me as always is the brilliant Sophia. Today, we're diving into something that's all around us, shaping every little thing we do: technology. From the moment we wake up to the time we go to bed, it's there, silently influencing our lives.
That's right, Adam. Whether it's the phone that wakes you up, the apps you use to plan your day, or the endless stream of content keeping you entertained, technology is everywhere. But here's the thing. Are we using technology, or is it using us? That's what we're here to figure out today.
Exactly. We'll be talking about how tech has revolutionized our lives, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Plus, we've got some fascinating insights, real-life stories, and even tips to help you find the perfect balance with technology.
And hey, we're not here to preach. This is a conversation. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's explore the role of technology in our everyday lives. Shall we get started?
So, let's kick things off with mornings. Sophia, think about your morning routine. How much of it is influenced by technology?
Honestly, almost all of it. The first thing I do in the morning is reach for my phone to turn off my alarm. Then, I check the weather app to decide what to wear, glance at my emails or messages, and sometimes scroll through social media before even getting out of bed. What about you, Adam?
Same here. My smartwatch buzzes me awake, and then I'm on my phone checking my to-do list for the day. It's fascinating how even something as simple as waking up has been completely transformed by tech. But here's a question. Do you think it's helping us, or are we too dependent on it?
It's a double-edged sword, really. On one hand, it's super convenient. I love how apps like Calm or Headspace can help you meditate or start your day on a peaceful note. But on the other hand, there are mornings when I get sucked into Instagram or emails, and before I know it, 30 minutes have disappeared.
Exactly. And let's not forget about smart home devices. A lot of people rely on voice assistants like Alexa or Google Home to control their mornings, whether it's turning on the lights, brewing coffee, or getting traffic updates. It's like having a personal assistant at your beck and call.
That's true. I've heard people even set up routines like saying, "Good morning, Alexa," and their blinds open, the coffee machine starts brewing, and their morning playlist begins playing. It's impressive, but don't you think it can feel a bit robotic?
Definitely. There's something to be said for the simplicity of starting your day without relying on gadgets. Like, do we really need an app to remind us to drink water or breathe?
Right. And then there's the stress factor. Notifications can make mornings overwhelming. Imagine waking up to 10 emails, 5 missed calls, and 20 social media notifications. It's like starting your day in chaos.
Totally. That's why some people swear by a tech-free morning. No phone for the first hour. They use an old-school alarm clock and spend the first part of their day journaling, meditating, or exercising. Have you ever tried that?
I have. And honestly, it felt amazing. But I'll admit it's hard to stick to. The convenience of technology is just so tempting. Plus, with work and everything, it's tough to unplug completely.
True. Maybe it's not about avoiding technology entirely, but using it intentionally. Like, instead of doom-scrolling social media, you could use a productivity app to plan your day or listen to a motivational podcast while getting ready.
That's a great point. Technology can be a tool to enhance our mornings if we use it wisely. For instance, I love fitness apps that track my morning yoga session or step count. They make staying active more engaging and rewarding.
Same here. And let's not forget apps for healthy eating. There are apps that suggest breakfast recipes based on what you have in your fridge. It's a lifesaver for busy mornings.
Absolutely. So I guess the takeaway here is to find what works for you, whether it's a tech-free morning or integrating tech in a way that adds value. Either way, being mindful about how we start our day is key.
Agreed. Mornings set the tone for the rest of the day, so if tech helps you feel organized and motivated, great. But if it's adding stress or distractions, it might be time to rethink your habits. Speaking of habits, let's move on to how tech impacts us once we're out the door and into the workday. All right, now that we've talked about mornings, let's move on to something that dominates most of our day: work. Sophia, how do you think technology has changed the way we work?
Oh, it's completely revolutionized it. Think about it. Remote work, virtual meetings, cloud storage. 20 years ago, these things were almost unimaginable. Now we can work from anywhere with just a laptop and an internet connection.
Exactly. Tools like Zoom, Slack, and Google Workspace have become essential. For me, Slack is a game changer. It keeps all my team communication organized, and I don't have to sift through endless emails. What's your go-to work tool, Sophia?
Definitely project management apps like Trello or Asana. They help keep tasks and deadlines clear, especially when working with a team. But I have to admit, while these tools make life easier, they also make it harder to unplug from work. Don't you think?
That's a good point. The same tools that keep us connected can make it feel like we're always on. I mean, how often do we find ourselves answering emails late at night or during weekends?
Too often. It's one of the downsides of technology in the workplace. But let's not forget the positives. For instance, automation tools are saving people hours of repetitive work, like scheduling software, invoicing tools, or even AI chatbots for customer service. Too often. It's one of the downsides of technology in the workplace. But let's not forget the positives. For instance, automation tools are saving people hours of repetitive work, like scheduling software, invoicing tools, or even AI chatbots for customer service. Exactly. But here's a question for you, Adam. Do you think we're becoming too dependent on technology? Like, are we losing some basic skills because we rely on these tools so much?
That's a valid concern. For example, how many people can still do basic math without a calculator? Or write a formal letter without templates? Technology has made us efficient, but it might be eroding some fundamental skills.
Right. And let's not forget the human connection. Virtual meetings are convenient, but they can't replace the dynamics of face-to-face collaboration. Body language, casual conversations, those things are harder to replicate online.
Absolutely. There's something about brainstorming in person that just feels more organic. But on the flip side, virtual meetings have made global collaboration easier. You can have a team spread across 5 continents and still work together seamlessly.
That's true. And let's not overlook accessibility. Technology has opened up opportunities for people who might have struggled in traditional work environments, like parents, people with disabilities, or those living in remote areas.
Good point. Technology has democratized the workplace in many ways. But at the same time, there's a growing concern about job displacement due to automation and AI. What's your take on that?
It's a real concern. Automation is great for productivity, but it's also making some roles obsolete. The key, I think, is for people to adapt and upskill. Instead of competing with technology, we need to learn how to work alongside it.
Well said. So, to sum up, technology has made work faster, smarter, and more connected. But it's also created challenges like overwork, loss of personal connection, and the need for constant adaptation.
All right, Adam, let's talk about a big part of our digital lives, social media and communication. It's amazing how platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp have changed the way we interact. What's your take on this?
I think it's fascinating. Social media has made it possible to stay connected with people across the globe. For example, I can chat with my cousin in Australia, share updates with friends in Europe, and still have time to check memes all within a few minutes. It's incredible how small the world feels because of it.
Absolutely. It's like we're living in a global village. But at the same time, don't you think it can sometimes feel overwhelming? I mean, how often do you feel pressured to check your notifications or respond to messages immediately?
All the time. It's like we're constantly on call, thanks to apps like WhatsApp and Messenger. And let's not even get started on the endless scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. Social media is great for staying informed and entertained, but it can easily turn into a time sink.
True, but it's not all bad. I love how social media lets people share their voices and stories. Think about movements like Number Me Too or Number Black Lives Matter. They gained so much momentum because of social platforms. Social media isn't just about selfies, it can be a powerful tool for change.
Good point. And it's also a lifeline for small businesses and creators. Imagine how many people turned to Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok during the pandemic to showcase their talents or start new ventures. It's opened doors for so many opportunities.
Absolutely. But there's also the darker side. Cyberbullying, misinformation, and the unrealistic expectations set by filtered photos and curated feeds. It can take a toll on mental health, especially for younger users.
Yeah, that's a big issue. Studies have shown that excessive social media use is linked to anxiety and depression. It's hard not to compare your life to someone else's highlight reel, even though you know it's not the full picture.
Exactly. That's why I think it's so important to be mindful about how we use social media. Set boundaries, follow accounts that inspire or educate you, and take breaks when it feels overwhelming.
Agreed. And let's not forget about communication tools like Zoom, Skype, or Microsoft Teams. These platforms kept us connected during the pandemic when face-to-face interaction wasn't possible. But even now, they've become staples for work and personal life.
Definitely. Virtual gatherings and video calls are so convenient, but do you think they're replacing real human interaction? I mean, sometimes a hug or a handshake says more than 1,000 texts.
I think so. While digital communication is convenient, it can't replace the depth of face-to-face interactions. Emojis and GIFs are fun, but they can't fully convey tone, emotion, or body language. There's a reason in-person conversations feel so much richer.
Absolutely. So, what's the takeaway here? Social media and communication technology are powerful tools, but we need to use them wisely, celebrate the connections, avoid the comparisons, and prioritize real-life relationships when we can.
Let's shift gears and talk about one of the most exciting aspects of technology, entertainment and leisure. Sophia, how do you think technology has changed how we relax and have fun?
Honestly, it's been a total game changer. From streaming services like Netflix and Spotify to immersive gaming experiences and virtual reality, technology has given us endless ways to unwind. Take Netflix, for example. Remember when we had to wait an entire week for the next episode of a show? Now we can binge watch an entire season in one night.
Right. Streaming services have completely transformed the way we consume content. Not just movies and TV shows, but also music and podcasts. Platforms like Spotify and Apple Music have made it possible to carry an entire library of songs in our pockets.
Exactly. And let's not forget gaming. Whether it's casual mobile games or high-end console gaming, technology has created a whole new universe of entertainment. Have you tried VR gaming, Adam?
Yes, and it's mind-blowing. Putting on a VR headset and stepping into a virtual world feels like something out of a sci-fi movie. It's not just gaming. It's experiences like virtual travel, interactive workouts, or even virtual concerts. The possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. But here's a question for you. Do you think we're losing some of the traditional forms of entertainment, like reading books or playing outdoor sports, because of technology?
That's a great point. I think technology is replacing some traditional activities, but it's also enhancing them. For instance, e-books and audiobooks have made reading more accessible. You can listen to a novel while commuting or working out. And fitness apps are encouraging people to stay active by gamifying workouts.
True, but at the same time, there's a risk of becoming too sedentary. With everything available at our fingertips, from streaming to gaming, it's easy to spend hours glued to a screen. That's where we need to find balance.
Exactly. Technology should complement our leisure activities, not completely take over. For example, instead of scrolling on your phone for hours, you could use a meditation app or learn a new skill through platforms like YouTube or Skillshare.
Great point. And there's something else I love about tech. It's made entertainment more personalized. With algorithms curating playlists, recommending shows, and suggesting games, you're never short of something you'll enjoy. But don't you think that can also create an echo chamber?
Definitely. Personalization is convenient, but it can limit exposure to new ideas or genres. For example, if your streaming platform only recommends action movies, you might miss out on a great comedy or documentary. It's important to explore beyond the algorithm.
Exactly. Another thing I've noticed is how technology has blurred the lines between creators and consumers. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube have turned regular people into content creators. Anyone with a smartphone can create something entertaining and share it with the world.
That's so true. Technology has democratized entertainment. You don't need to be a Hollywood producer or a professional musician anymore. You just need a platform and an audience. It's amazing how creative people have become.
But with that comes the pressure to always be creating or consuming. Sometimes it feels like we're always on, whether we're watching, sharing, or posting. Do you think we're losing the ability to just do nothing?
I think so. Downtime has almost become a lost art. But maybe that's where technology can help too, by encouraging us to take mindful breaks, like setting reminders to disconnect or using apps that promote relaxation and mindfulness.
Exactly. So, to wrap up this segment, technology has made entertainment and leisure more accessible, diverse, and personalized. But the key is to use it wisely, so it adds value to our lives without overwhelming us.
Well said. Speaking of value, let's explore another area where technology has made a huge impact: health and wellness.
Perfect transition. Let's dive in. This segment blends relatable examples, thought-provoking questions, and practical insights to engage listeners. Would you like me to include specific apps or platforms as examples? Okay, Adam, let's talk about health and wellness, an area where technology has been making some of the biggest strides. From fitness trackers to telemedicine, it's incredible how much tech is helping us take better care of ourselves.
Absolutely, Sophia. I mean, just think about fitness trackers like Fitbit, Garmin, or smartwatches. They've turned something as simple as walking into a measurable goal. Have you ever felt that weird satisfaction when your watch buzzes to tell you you've hit your 10,000 steps?
Every time. It's such a small thing, but it's super motivating. And it's not just steps. These devices track heart rate, sleep patterns, calories burned, and even stress levels. It's like having a personal health coach on your wrist.
Exactly. And then there's the rise of health apps. From meditation apps like Headspace to workout platforms like Peloton, there's something for everyone. I've been using a guided meditation app lately, and it's amazing how much it helps me focus and de-stress.
That's so true. And don't forget about nutrition apps. Platforms like MyFitnessPal or Noom make tracking meals and managing diets so much easier. They help people make healthier choices by giving them real-time feedback on their eating habits.
Right. But it's not just personal wellness. Technology is transforming healthcare too. For instance, telemedicine has made it possible to consult doctors from the comfort of your home. It's such a game changer, especially for people in rural areas or those with mobility issues.
Exactly. And during the pandemic, telehealth became a lifeline for so many people. It's not just consultations either. Wearable devices now monitor conditions like diabetes or heart disease in real time, sending updates directly to your doctor.
That's incredible. And then there's AI in healthcare. Think about tools that can analyze medical scans faster and more accurately than humans, or apps that use machine learning to predict potential health risks based on your data. It's fascinating, but also a little intimidating, don't you think?
Absolutely. The potential is amazing, but it does raise questions about data privacy and reliance on tech. For example, would you trust an AI to make critical medical decisions for you? It's a tough call.
Very tough. And it's not just about trust, it's also about accessibility. Not everyone can afford the latest wearable or access telehealth services. We have to ensure that these advancements are available to everyone, not just the privileged few.
Good point, but even simple accessible tech can make a big difference. Think about basic pedometer apps or free online workout videos. You don't need fancy gadgets to start improving your health.
Exactly. The goal is to use technology to complement healthy habits, not replace them. Like a smartwatch might tell you to stand up every hour, but it's still up to you to actually do it.
That's so true. And then there's the flip side. Too much tech can hurt our health, like excessive screen time leading to eye strain, poor posture, or even sleep problems. Have you tried any of those blue light blocking glasses?
I have, and they help. But I think the bigger issue is finding a balance. Technology can be a powerful tool for health and wellness, but we have to use it mindfully. Too much of a good thing can become a bad thing.
Exactly. So, to wrap this up, technology has made health and wellness more accessible, personalized, and efficient. But it's up to us to use it in a way that truly enhances our well-being.
Well said. Speaking of enhancement, let's move on to another area where technology has made a huge impact: education and learning. All right, Sophia, let's dive into one of the most transformative areas of technology: education and learning. Honestly, the way we learn today is light years ahead of what we grew up with. What's your take on how tech has reshaped education?
Completely agree, Adam. Technology has democratized education in ways we couldn't have imagined. Think about platforms like Khan Academy, Coursera, and even YouTube. Anyone with an internet connection can learn almost anything, from coding to cooking to astrophysics.
Exactly. And the flexibility is amazing. You're no longer tied to a classroom or a rigid schedule. Online courses let you learn at your own pace. For example, I recently completed a digital marketing course from Google while juggling my day job. How cool is that?
That's fantastic. And it's not just about adults learning new skills. Kids are also benefiting. With apps like Duolingo, kids can learn new languages in a fun, interactive way. And during the pandemic, platforms like Zoom and Google Classroom became lifelines for students and teachers alike.
Absolutely. But virtual learning has its challenges too, right? For one, not every student has access to a reliable internet connection or devices. The digital divide is a big issue when it comes to ensuring equal access to education.
That's so true. The digital divide highlights a major gap in the system. But on the bright side, initiatives like one laptop per child and free public Wi-Fi projects are helping bridge that gap. It's a step in the right direction.
Another thing I find fascinating is how technology has made learning more interactive and engaging. Gamification in education, for instance. Apps like Kahoot or Quizzes make quizzes fun and competitive, keeping students more involved.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about AR and VR. Imagine studying ancient history and actually walking through a virtual reconstruction of the Colosseum in Rome. Or learning about the solar system while navigating a virtual spaceship. It makes learning immersive and unforgettable.
That's the future, for sure. But do you think there's a downside? Like, are we losing some traditional learning methods, reading physical books, handwriting notes, or just having face-to-face discussions with peers?
Good question. I think there's room for both. Technology can enhance traditional methods, but it shouldn't replace them entirely. For example, e-books are great for convenience, but there's something irreplaceable about holding a book and flipping its pages.
Couldn't agree more. Another area where tech has really made an impact is accessibility. Tools like screen readers for visually impaired students or subtitles for hearing impaired learners are making education more inclusive than ever before.
That's such an important point. And AI is playing a big role too. Adaptive learning platforms like Dreambox or Aleph provide personalized lessons based on a student's progress. It's like having a tutor that's available 24/7.
True. But then there's the question of over-reliance on tech. Do you think students are becoming too dependent on tools like calculators or spell checkers? Are we losing critical thinking skills?
That's a valid concern. I think it's all about balance. Technology is a tool, not a replacement for thinking. It's up to educators and parents to ensure that students learn the basics alongside using these tools effectively.
Well said. To sum up, Technology has opened up endless possibilities for education and learning, making it more accessible, engaging, and personalized. But we need to address challenges like the digital divide and ensure we don't lose the human touch in learning.
All right, Adam. As much as we've talked about the amazing benefits of technology, we'd be remiss if we didn't address the challenges that come with it. While tech has transformed our lives, it's not without its downsides. What's been your biggest concern?
Honestly, one of the biggest challenges I see is the issue of privacy. With everything we do online, shopping, banking, social media, there's so much data being collected about us. How do we really know that companies are handling that information responsibly?
That's a big one. Think about how often we hear about data breaches, hacking, or even companies selling our personal information to third parties. It's scary to think about how much control we've given over to tech companies in exchange for convenience.
Exactly. And it's not just about big corporations. Individuals are also becoming more vulnerable to scams, phishing attacks, and identity theft. I know a few people who've had their accounts compromised just by clicking on a suspicious link.
That's terrifying. But it's not just data and security issues, right? Technology also affects our mental health. The constant connectivity, social media pressures, and the endless stream of information can leave people feeling anxious or overwhelmed. Have you ever found yourself spiraling down a rabbit hole online?
All the time. I think social media plays a huge role in that. It's easy to compare yourself to someone else's curated life, and before you know it, you're questioning your own achievements or lifestyle. And don't get me started on how addictive these apps can be.
Totally. The algorithms are designed to keep us engaged, right? The endless scroll, the likes, the notifications. It creates a cycle that's hard to break. It's almost like tech is deliberately engineered to keep us hooked.
That's the real danger. It's not just about being on your phone too much. It's about how it manipulates your behavior. And let's not forget the impact on sleep. Blue light from screens can mess with our circadian rhythm, making it harder to fall asleep. That's something I've definitely struggled with.
Same here. And while we're talking about health, we can't ignore the physical toll of tech. I mean, how many people do you know who have neck pain, eye strain, or poor posture because they're glued to their phones or laptops all day?
I'm guilty of that myself. I'll spend hours working or binge-watching shows without thinking about how bad it is for my posture. That's another thing. Too much screen time can have real long-term consequences if we're not careful.
And there's another huge challenge that we can't ignore: the digital divide. Not everyone has equal access to technology. Many communities, especially in rural or underserved areas, lack access to high-speed internet, affordable devices, or even digital literacy skills. This can create a massive gap in education, healthcare, and job opportunities.
That's a problem we can't overlook. Technology is supposed to make life easier for everyone, but if it's leaving large segments of the population behind, we're doing something wrong. It's something governments, corporations, and societies at large need to address.
Exactly. And then there's the environmental impact of technology. We're talking about e-waste, the carbon footprint of data centers, and the energy consumed by all the devices we use. As much as we love our gadgets, they don't come without consequences for the planet.
That's a tough one. The tech industry is growing rapidly, but sustainability is lagging behind. Many people don't realize how much energy it takes to run the internet or how much e-waste gets generated every year. It's something we need to think about more as consumers.
And to add to that, let's talk about job displacement. As automation and AI continue to advance, more and more jobs are being replaced by machines. It's already happening in industries like manufacturing, retail, and even healthcare.
That's true. While technology creates new job opportunities, it's also making some roles obsolete. People need to adapt, learn new skills, and be prepared for the changes that are coming. But what happens to those who can't keep up?
It's a tricky situation. We need to ensure that the benefits of technology are more evenly distributed and that people have access to the resources they need to thrive in this changing world. Education, retraining programs, and a strong social safety net are crucial.
Absolutely. So, to sum it up, while technology brings amazing benefits, it also presents significant challenges, from privacy concerns and mental health issues to social inequality and environmental impact. It's up to us to navigate these challenges responsibly.
Well said. The key is balance. We can't deny the advantages of technology, but we must be aware of the potential downsides and work together to mitigate them. All right, Adam. After discussing all the incredible benefits and challenges of technology, let's dive into something that feels like a real need for most of us today: finding balance with technology. In a world that's constantly plugged in, how do we manage it all without losing ourselves in the process?
Such a great question. I think finding balance starts with being intentional about how we use tech. It's easy to get swept up in the convenience of smartphones, social media, and endless entertainment. But we need to consciously decide how we want to interact with these tools.
Exactly. For me, it's about setting boundaries. Like, I try to avoid checking my phone first thing in the morning and last thing before bed. I find that taking a break from screens helps me feel more grounded and focused.
That's a good practice. I've started setting phone-free times, like during meals or when I'm spending quality time with family or friends. It's amazing how much more connected you feel when you're not distracted by notifications or messages.
Absolutely. Another thing that's helped me is using technology mindfully. For example, I used to scroll mindlessly through Instagram or TikTok, but now I've started setting specific times for social media. It's about being present with what I'm doing, whether it's watching a show or checking updates.
Mindful tech use is key. And even when we're using tech for entertainment, it's about quality over quantity. Instead of just mindlessly watching TV for hours, I try to pick shows or movies that I truly enjoy, or documentaries that expand my knowledge.
Right. And it's also about creating tech-free zones. I've made my bedroom a no-tech zone, no phones, tablets, or laptops. It's my space to unwind and relax without the distractions that come with being online all the time.
That's a great idea. Creating physical boundaries can help reduce the urge to constantly check our devices. Plus, it promotes better sleep. When you're not staring at a screen right before bed, you're less likely to be affected by blue light and its impact on your sleep cycle.
Exactly. And another thing I've found helpful is turning off non-essential notifications. It's amazing how much mental energy we save when we're not constantly interrupted by pings and alerts. Do you use Do Not Disturb mode?
Definitely. I've set it up for certain times, like when I'm working or when I need some quiet time. It helps me stay focused and prevents me from getting pulled into an endless stream of messages and notifications.
Yes. And on the flip side, I think it's important to make time for real-world interactions, like spending time outdoors, having in-person conversations, or engaging in hobbies that don't require technology. It's all about balance. You can't be constantly plugged in and still expect to feel centered and grounded.
That's so true. I've started dedicating more time to activities like hiking, reading physical books, or cooking. These are things that don't involve technology, and they help me reset mentally.
I love that. It's a great reminder that technology should be used to enhance our lives, not consume them. It's about using it to enrich our experiences, stay connected, and learn, but also knowing when to step away and recharge.
Exactly. Balance is key, and it's not about avoiding technology altogether. It's about using it in a way that adds value to our lives without overwhelming us.
And let's not forget the power of taking intentional breaks. Whether it's digital detox weekends or just a few hours each day without screens, unplugging regularly helps reset our relationship with technology.
That's a great point. Unplugging isn't about avoiding tech forever. It's about resetting so we can return to it with a healthier mindset.
So, to wrap this up, finding balance with technology is all about being intentional, setting boundaries, and making sure we're using tech in ways that support our well-being rather than draining us.
Well said. And of course, balance looks different for everyone. It's about discovering what works best for you and adjusting as needed. So, with that in mind, let's talk about the future of tech. What's coming next that could change the way we find balance in our lives?
Exciting topic, let's dive in. All right, Adam, we've covered a lot of ground today, but there's one crucial aspect of technology we can't overlook: the ethical side. As technology continues to evolve, we're facing new questions about how it affects society, our rights, and even humanity itself. What's your take on this?
It's such a huge topic, Sophia. Technology is advancing faster than ever, and with that comes the need to consider the ethical implications of those advancements. For example, take artificial intelligence, AI. We're seeing it used everywhere, from chatbots to self-driving cars. But who's responsible when things go wrong?
Exactly. It's a serious issue. When AI makes decisions, especially in critical areas like healthcare or law enforcement, it can be hard to pinpoint who's to blame if something goes awry. Is it the creator of the algorithm, the company that uses it, or the machine itself?
That's a real gray area, and the ethical questions don't stop there. Think about facial recognition technology. It's being used in airports, by law enforcement, even in schools. But there are concerns about privacy, consent, and potential bias in these systems. Have you heard about the issues with facial recognition misidentifying people of color?
Yes, that's a huge concern. If the technology isn't trained on diverse datasets, it can lead to major inaccuracies and injustices. This brings up the question of how tech companies are ensuring fairness in their algorithms. Are they making sure that the data used to train these systems is diverse and free from bias?
That's a big question. And let's talk about privacy too. With all the personal data being collected by tech companies, how much of our lives should we really be willing to share? Companies like Facebook, Google, and Amazon are gathering vast amounts of data, often without our full understanding of how it's being used.
Right. And it's not just about convenience anymore. There are serious concerns about how this data could be misused. What happens when our data is sold to third parties or used to manipulate our decisions through targeted ads? It's something that needs more regulation and transparency.
And then there's the environmental ethics of technology. We all know how fast technology evolves, but that leads to e-waste. Millions of tons of discarded electronics end up in landfills every year. What are companies doing to ensure that their products are designed to be more sustainable?
Great point. The life cycle of tech products is often overlooked. Many companies are moving toward more sustainable practices, but there's still a long way to go in terms of recycling, reducing waste, and minimizing the environmental impact. Tech is part of our everyday lives, but it's also contributing to pollution and resource depletion.
Exactly. And what about the ethical implications of automation and AI replacing jobs? Sure, technology is creating new opportunities, but it's also displacing workers in fields like manufacturing, retail, and customer service. How do we ensure that people are retrained or supported through these transitions?
That's one of the biggest ethical dilemmas of our time. We need to find a balance between technological advancement and social responsibility. If we're automating jobs, we should be investing in retraining programs, ensuring that displaced workers have a pathway to new roles, and providing social safety nets to help people through the transition.
And then there's the question of technology's role in spreading misinformation. Social media platforms are under fire for allowing fake news and harmful content to spread unchecked. These platforms have a responsibility to monitor and prevent the spread of false information, but where do we draw the line between censorship and free speech?
That's a tricky balance. While it's important to stop the spread of harmful misinformation, we also have to protect freedom of expression. But the sheer scale of content being generated online makes it hard to moderate effectively. It's a challenge for tech companies, governments, and society as a whole.
So many layers to this. To me, the key is creating ethical guidelines and frameworks that tech companies can follow, ones that focus on transparency, fairness, and accountability. These companies have a huge responsibility, not just to their shareholders, but to society.
Absolutely. And consumers have a role to play too. We need to be more conscious of the choices we make as users. For example, choosing companies that prioritize privacy, sustainability, and ethical practices in their products and services.
Right. It all comes down to responsible innovation. Technology is evolving rapidly, and with that, we must ensure that ethical considerations evolve just as quickly. That way, we can make sure tech serves humanity in a fair, sustainable, and responsible way.
Well said, Adam. The ethical implications of technology aren't something we can ignore. We need to continue having these conversations, stay informed, and push for more accountability at every level. All right, Adam, as we start to wrap up this fascinating conversation, let's look ahead. What do you think the future of technology holds for us?
The possibilities are endless, Sophia. One area I'm particularly excited about is AI and machine learning. We've already seen how they're transforming industries, but in the future, they could bring even more personalized healthcare, smarter cities, and innovations we can't even imagine yet.
Absolutely. And what about space exploration? With advancements in reusable rockets and interplanetary missions, we're looking at a future where living on Mars or mining asteroids for resources might actually become a reality.
That's true. Space tech is advancing rapidly. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are pushing boundaries. But it's not just about the big stuff. There's also the potential for quantum computing. Imagine solving problems that current computers can't handle, like complex climate modeling or discovering new medicines in record time.
Quantum computing is mind-blowing, but I'm also interested in how tech might reshape our daily lives. For example, the rise of wearables. We could see devices that monitor our health in real time, or even extend our lifespans by detecting diseases before symptoms appear.
And let's not forget renewable energy tech. Solar panels, wind turbines, and energy storage systems are getting more efficient. Imagine a future where the entire world runs on clean energy. It's a game changer for the planet.
Such exciting prospects. But I also think about virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR. They're already revolutionizing gaming, but they could also change how we work, learn, and socialize. Imagine attending a virtual classroom or collaborating in a digital workspace that feels completely real.
It's amazing to think about. And while the future of tech is promising, it's also important to ensure these advancements are inclusive and ethical. We need to make sure that the benefits of technology reach everyone, not just a privileged few.
Well said, Adam. The future of technology is both thrilling and complex. It's up to us to shape it in a way that benefits humanity and protects our planet.
Exactly. And I think conversations like this are a great start. They help us think critically about where we're heading and what kind of future we want to create.
What a journey this has been. We've explored how technology touches every part of our lives, from our morning routines to work, health, and even entertainment. We've discussed the challenges, the ethics, and the incredible potential for the future.
Absolutely, Sophia. Technology is a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how we use it. It can bring immense value to our lives if we approach it with awareness and responsibility.
To all our listeners out there, we hope this conversation inspires you to think about your own relationship with technology, how you use it, how it affects you, and what changes you might want to make.
And don't forget, the future of technology isn't just in the hands of scientists or corporations. It's in all of our hands. Let's work together to create a tech-driven future that's ethical, sustainable, and inclusive.
Well said, Adam. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. Don't forget to share your thoughts with us. How do you see technology shaping your life? We'd love to hear your perspectives.
And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Until next time, stay curious and stay balanced.
Take care, everyone. See you in the next episode. Thank you.